Hi guys, I hope everyone is doing well today. I think you can kind of pretty much see where I am. I'm going to take a walk over to our neighbor's house. We did an update last week. I told you if there was any major things that happened that I would possibly do a weekly update and then more than likely get back to every other week. But they made some really nice progress over the last 7 days with putting up the walls of the house. It's really coming along nicely, and that's what we're going to talk about today. All right, so before we get started with this week's update, talk a little bit about the weather. Still very, very hot. You see the laser beam up there? We did get some rain, much needed rain, but very, very little. There was a tropical depression that came in from the east. It turned by Samar, went north. It's now up by Manila area, going up through Luzon, and then it will turn and go out to sea. We got very little rain. We got about here up at our location during the day a couple days ago. We got about 30 minutes of a pretty heavy downpour, about 30 minutes, so not bad. And then that evening we got probably another 30 minutes, about 10 o'clock at night. But it wasn't a real hard downpour. It was just a nice steady rain for about 30 minutes. So we got about 1 hour of rain in this area. I did hear down in Darwin, which is that way. You guys like my pointer? Use this piece of PVC for showing you guys some stuff today. But Darwin is just down that way. And friends down there said that they got that night that we got about 30 minutes of rain. They got about an hour of a downpour. So down closer to sea level, got more rain than we did. And I guess it makes sense because the storm was coming from the east, and east is that way. So it didn't quite make it up the mountain. But take a look. Is that a lot of progress in just a week? A lot going on here. Floor plan is starting to come together. So I figured I'd bring this update to you guys just because now I know a couple updates ago I explained to you the floor plan, but it's very difficult to do when the walls ain't up. So this is obviously the front of the house. This area here is going to be the main living area. And there is also going to be a wraparound porch in front of the facility here, the building facility. Going back to my business days of building and operating distribution centers. So that is the cellar that we took a look at last update. The walls are definitely going up. Wanted to show you guys, especially the new viewers. We got a lot of new viewers. Last 6 or 7 videos, anywhere from 20 to like 35 new subscribers per video, which is pretty surprising, surprising to us. So welcome to the channel. So I'm going to take a few minutes and kind of explain a little bit about the columns that you're looking at, as well as the hollow block walls. We'll talk a little bit about poured versus AAC block versus hollow block. But let's just talk a little bit about the main structure, the strength of the building, which is the columns. So the columns are all throughout the facility, all throughout the house. Having nightmares about work. And what they do is, this is part of a column right here. It's a fresh pour. You can see it's still green concrete. But this is 16 mm, and these are called stirrups right here. And this is 12 mm. And basically all they do is they bend them on site. And all they do is just hold these 4 strands of rebar together, because this is going to be buried in concrete. And then to hold the stirrups in place, they use these tie wires. And they do a double strand And then they basically just wrap it around and twist it so it's tight. Holds it in place. And this goes straight down. And typically what a home is 1 meter down in the earth from grade. So wherever grade is, they dig down 1 meter or 39 inches. And then they do usually 1 meter by 1 meter footing. And usually that concrete's pretty thick, 6-8 inches thick. And it has rebar, kind of like tic-tac-toe. We'll have several strands going this way, and then several strands going this way. That'll be embedded in that 6 to 8 inches of concrete. That's 1 meter square. And that's a real good base and a footing that's down into the earth. And that repeats wherever you see a column. So there is a lot of footings in a house. And then what they do with these columns is these columns here, which this happens to be 16 mm. A lot of homes also use 12 mm. 16 usually is for 2-story, and 12 mm is typically for a 1-story home. That's code here, or requirement. But they decided to upgrade to the 16 mm, even though this is a 1-story house. So that's a good thing. Added cost, but added strength. So this column goes down into that footing before they pour the concrete. And this rebar, all 4 strands, is bent at a 90 degree. And it goes down in and ties in to that tic-tac-toe I just told you about. And then they use this tie wire to tie it together. Then they pour the footing. So what that does is tie this column, that's your vertical strength, to the footing so there's no movement. And just again, it repeats with every single column. So you wonder why these concrete homes can withstand a large typhoon. So here's an example of the 16 mm, and you can see this is part of the column. Now they do the columns in pieces, which I always questioned, because when you do a piece, see how this is poured to this level, then they stop, then they allow this to dry, and then they'll come back at a later date and form this up and pour the rest of it. You would assume that would make a weak joint, and I questioned that when I first moved here with a little bit of experience that I have. But all the engineers that I talked to, see the joint here? You can see the joint, is that it still is very strong. So they do the columns in pieces as they go up. So columns with rebar going vertical, stirrups holding it all together with the tie wire, and then eventually it'll be a concrete column that goes all the way up to the top beam of the house, which is where the roof will sit on. So we'll show you that as we go. So this is the living room area, and let's take a walk around and see the bedroom. The master bedroom is behind this area. So this is going to be the master bedroom right through here, as I understand it. And then guest room, and it looks like that's going to be a bathroom, and then library, and then another guest room on that side. So this will be the master bedroom area that we're walking through now. The center section in the back is the library. How do you like my pointer? This back area is going to be kitchen and dining room. Still need to fill in. Still need to fill in some dirt because they need to bring the floor up to grade to eventually pour the concrete. Now, one thing I wanted to show you, see if I can get a good example, is there's lots of conversation about hollow block, or the new product that's out there is AAC or poured concrete. A lot of comments, a lot of people say different things. I'm not an expert, never claimed to be, but what everyone needs to realize is this is like a sheetrock wall within your house. So this is quite strong. Now, would a poured with rebar reinforced poured wall be stronger? I think an engineer would say yes. My common sense tells me yes. AAC, there's a new type of block. It's a light block. I think it has some kind of air or styrofoam in it that makes it light, easier to cut, easy to install, saves time. Is that stronger than this? Don't know. That's a question for an engineer. It's a new product. I guess you could say, do you want to have your house have a new product that's not necessarily tested for 10, 20, 30 years? This method, I'm going to say, and this is a guess, 99% of concrete homes in the Philippines. Big percentage, right? 99% hollow block. So the way they do it is they do the walls, the hollow block walls, before the columns. You would think it's the other way. At least I did when I first moved to the Philippines. But let me tell you why they don't do that. This is going to be a good illustration. So this wall has concrete vertically, which is depicted here. See the 12 mm? And it's usually about every couple feet. That goes all the way from the tie beam from column to column. The hollow blocks sit on that tie beam, which is very similar to the roof beam. And they start building the wall up. But embedded inside the hollow block is they fill the voids, which is very different from the United States. They fill the voids with concrete, adds weight and adds strength. And then at the same time, there's rebar that go from the bottom all the way up that meets the top beam. And then if they have to extend, like here, they just add another piece and then they tie it together with the same type of tie straps, tie wire. So there's a vertical rebar element to all the hollow block walls. A lot of people comment saying, is hollow block strong enough? Is there any rebar inside these hollow blocks? And the answer is yes. Every wall has the vertical. Now on top of that, every 3 courses. So here's the tie beam. This is the concrete embedded in the column. So this is part of the column that goes down 1 meter that meets the footing. Every 3 courses, so 1 course, 2, 3, there's a horizontal 12 millimeter that goes horizontally on the wall. So it'll be 1 here, then 1, 2, 3. See another one right there. So this wall is like tic-tac-toe. Vertical rebar, horizontal rebar, and all tied together to strengthen this wall. And at the same time, every 3 courses, so you can see it here, you can see it here, it'll be tied with the same tie straps, tie wire, to the column, which will keep this wall from moving left to right. So not only does it has the vertical, it has the horizontal, it's tied to the column. Very, very important. There's another example. So that's 3 more courses. So it comes out, and then you have your 12 millimeter. to tie into the column. So that's why, and this is how I was told and trained, that they do the wall, hollow block wall first, because they want to make sure that they tie all these walls to the columns. And there is a lot of columns. I think we have 25 in our house, probably 50 in this house. So it all ties together for strength. So I just wanted to take a few minutes and explain that. I'm sure a lot of you guys already know that, but there's a lot of new viewers asking questions about homes, getting a lot of requests for subscriber visits, subscriber lunches and coffees, and like I said, we're getting at least 15 to 20 new subscribers per video the last 6 or 7 videos. Very surprised, and wanted to take a few minutes to explain that. So, is hollow block walls sturdy? My answer is yes. You hear a lot of comments that these walls are not secure, and that poured is better, AAC is better. All that may be true, but again, if 99% of the homes in the Philippines are built this way, obviously they're doing something right, because they withstand typhoons. Wilma's house in Leyte was built this way, and when Haiyan came in, I think they called it Yolanda internationally, I think it was 200-kilometer-per-hour winds, category 5, basically went right over Wilma's house, no damage. So again, is poured stronger? Probably. AAC, I don't know enough about it to make an educated guess, but this is sheetrock, guys. This is not structural. What's structural is the footing, the column, the tie beam that's at the bottom that goes column to column, which is basically just a column horizontal, is a beam. And then this will extend up, and then there'll be another roof beam. So basically like a rectangle, and then another rectangle over here. That's the strength of the house. And then the roof sits on top of the beam. So really, this wall here does nothing. It's just a wall. It's not structural. So I just want to make sure that I point that out. So what progress, guys? I mean, I wanted to do a video, when I watched these guys rock and roll this week, I'm like, wow, they're really moving along, getting a lot of work done. I figured I'd give you guys a weekly update this time instead of every other week. That's some concrete, so they must be anticipating rainy weather. They got a tarp over the concrete, very smart. So a lot of guys working here. I'm gonna guess, and I don't know exactly, but I'm gonna guess and say 18, and that's just a guess. And I think we started our home with 18, and then it slowly went down. I think we ended like 10 at the end. So definitely got a lot of guys here. That's why the walls are going up so quickly. I would assume they'd be working on the walls this week. Got all the fill in here. We're still praying for rain. I mentioned last update that we're out of water last Sunday for 17 hours. We finally came back after 17 hours. This week we've been good. I did go buy another tank. I bought another 1,500 liter tank. So Wilma and I are going to do a house update, because we do have quite a bit of news. We have a contractor coming on site, I think Thursday of this week or Friday of this week, to do some work. We had a few bids, and obviously looking for the best price. I found a young contractor that we're going to be doing a video with as well, who is going to do some inside work for us. So that's coming up. And I did talk to our solar guy. He's very camera shy, but he said that he will, because we're ready for our 6-month, every 6 months they come and clean the panels and they take apart, I guess, the inverter and blow it out and clean it. Just a maintenance every 6 months. So he's going to come up and do that. And then he also does air con cleaning, both inside and out. The unit inside as well as the compressor outside. So we're going to get our air cons clean while he's here. And then we're also going to do a video. I'm going to interview him because I'm very, very pleased with his work. And actually we're up to 6 solar builds from our channel. So thank you guys. You trusted Alpha Solar to install your solar for your house, and he's got 6 builds, so very proud of him for that. So hopefully we'll do a good interview together, and he'll get some more business. And I tried to talk this young contractor that's going to be up here I think at the end of the week, Thursday or Friday. And I told him that after the work is done, because I have to see the work, I'm not going to recommend him without seeing his work. But once the work is done, then I'll have him on the channel. And he said that he would. He also said that he'd be nervous about being interviewed, but we'll make it happen. And it'll be another choice for people to use, and hopefully we all can learn something, of course myself included, about all these young guys starting businesses. Both are in their 20s, trying to learn the trade, trying to get out there, get their name known, and just trying to help market them a little bit. So there you go, guys. Update for this week. A little bit of conversation about the walls and how they're built and how they withstand the typhoons here in the Philippines. And I will talk to you later.